Hi, I'm Rupert Hudrev. I'm the founder, chairman and chief researcher at the Hurun report. Now, what is it that the world's most successful young entrepreneurs have in common? If we can answer that question, well, it's going to give us a pretty good insight into the economy of tomorrow, and also perhaps who the Elon Musk, Jensen Huang or Warren Buffett of tomorrow is likely to be. So my team and I have scoured the world for the most successful young entrepreneurs, in this case under the age of 40, and come up with the 2026 Hurun Global Under 40s Self-Made Billionaires list. Now, we managed to dig up 108 individuals, and I suppose what we should do is try and analyze a little bit what these individuals are. So first of all, where do they choose to set up their business? Where do they live? Well, it's a US-China story again. US and China between them had over 70% of the whole list. US had 50 people, China 29, India was third, and UK, where I come from, was fourth with 4 individuals. I'm very proud, actually. So that's the first thing. The next thing is, well, what are they doing? And of course, it's an AI story today. So these 108 individuals have created businesses between them that has a total value of 2.7 trillion US dollars. It's an absolutely mind-bogglingly big number there. So how to understand it? Well, 2.7 trillion, if it were a country and you're measuring at GDP, it would be straight into the top 10. So these young individuals under the age 40 or under have built those sort of businesses, led by Sam Altman, who's on the list, 4.7 billion US dollars. His OpenAI has raised money recently at 840 billion US dollars. We've got several of the founders of Anthropic, that's the company behind Claude AI. Anthropic has raised money just recently at 380 billion US dollars, and so on. And number one on the list, by the way, is Edward Chen. He's doing AI, no big surprise. Surge AI, it's called. They're doing a sort of data training for AI, and many of their clients are OpenAI and Anthropic and companies like that. Number two is actually two equal. You have a guy called Adcock, and he's built a business called Figure AI, which does sort of humanoid robots. And actually, his wealth has surged over 10 times in the last year. It's now got 16 billion US dollars. But it's not just about AI. And you have the number two equal. There's a guy from China called Grant Wang Ning. And he's the man behind Labubu, which is a collectible toy. And his business, PopMart, has just raised, it's now worth 40 billion US dollars. And that puts it number two at 16 billion US dollars. Some of the other people on the list, also from China, funny enough, are doing bubble tea companies. You have the likes of Wang Yunan from Good Me. It's a bubble tea brand in China. You have the likes of Zhang Junjie. Do you know he left school age 11? That's another amazing story. And, his bubble tea business called Chaji has been incredibly successful in China. Anyway, so that gives a flavor of that. Then the next thing to look at is, well, these people are young, but there's also younger. So of the 108 under 40s, 44 of them are aged 35 or under. And 15 of them are aged 30 or under. The youngest self-made woman in the world, for example, is Kylie Jenner. And she made the billionaire list this year for the first time. And then we even have 5 individuals who are aged 25 or under. The youngest of 3, also doing an AI training business, but in this case, a sort of recruitment business of experts. And it's they're 3 individuals with $2.4 billion each, and they're aged 22. So it is kind of mind-boggling. We have 11 women that make the list, just to give an idea as well. But the thing really is that when we look at this list, one of the things that really surprised me is that 65% of the list, they went straight from school or university to setting up their business. Only 35% did the more traditional way of, in my understanding, of working for a big company and then leaving. Like the Anthropic founders, many of them worked for OpenAI beforehand, and then a few years ago they left and set up this business called Anthropic, and then they make the list in their own right as well. So it just sort of gives you a flavor. Edwin Chen of Surge AI, for example, he worked for Twitter, and I think it was Google or something afterwards, and then set up Surge AI. But many of them just went straight out of college to set up their business today. Other thing is we looked at, where they went to university. So it was MIT and Stanford created more, their alumni created more people on the list than any other. But interesting enough, India's IIT had 6 individuals, which was more than Harvard. So just giving a little flavor of the future. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Again, I hope to help answer the question, what is it that the world's most successful entrepreneurs have in common? The stories of ththese people, in many ways, tells the story of the economy of tomorrow. Thank you very much for watching.